Right. So this is our third class talking about reflexive pronouns, reflexive verbs, and reflexive pronouns, right? I would like possibly next week, if not this week, to be our last class on that topic, on this topic. I think probably for us it might be this week that is the last class on the topic. And then next week we may just have some exercises to do and correct on it, but we could start a new topic. The next big grammar topic I want to look at is stem changing verbs, right? If anyone has a grammar topic they want us to do, they want us to prioritize, they could message and say, right? So on the list for today, the first thing I have are some past paper oral questions that use reflexive verbs for us to practice with. Then also, we still have Mexico to come back to and give some reasons why we would want to visit there in Spanish. I want to go over with you the homework situation, what is outstanding for people in the class, and what I want you to do for next week. We didn't get to talk about congratulations, offering congratulations next week. We have poor versus para. And between this week and next week, I want to do some revision of the higher numbers, how to write out higher numbers, right? All right, so a long list, but hopefully short things that won't take so long, so we can get through quite a few things, right? All right, so first thing we're starting with is this, these questions here on the screen, right? So please note the questions, and you could label the heading for this could be orals practice. Right? And remember that these are past paper questions. Okay, so please note these. Please note the questions. Please also note the answers that we come up with. So please note past paper questions and answers, right? At least one answer, right? So even though some of you are not writing until next year, you should be putting together a document with past paper questions, or a folder or a section of your notebook with past paper questions and answers. So that when the time comes, you don't have to start scrambling to put them together. All right. Okay, so let's look at the first question. The first question says, ¿a qué hora te despiertas generalmente? Or the examiner could ask, ¿a qué hora te levantas generalmente? Or ¿a qué hora te acuestas generalmente? Now, what do these words mean? ¿A qué hora is at what time? Despiertas is wake up. Levantas is get up. Because you could wake up 1 hour, but get out of bed at another hour, right? And then te acuestas, what is that? Get out of, go to bed, right? From acostarse. This is a stem changing verb. Right. So let me hear your answers in the chat. You could pick one, you could do all, you could do 1, 2, whatever. Just let me see your answers in the chat, right? 2 minutes. Right? So when you answer this question, the examiner is looking to hear a complete sentence. They are also looking to see that you change the reflexive verb, because now instead of saying, what time do you wake up? You have to say, what time do I wake up, right? And they're also looking to see that you change the ending, that you can say the yo form of the verbs, right? And all of that, of course, will mean that you understood the question. So how are we going to answer this question? We can say, so the absolute by the book answer will start with generalmente. Or here's an even better option. Normalmente. This is great. So this is a nice synonym. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna take wake up first. So I would say me despierto, right? A las, and you put your time, las 5:30, right? That could be one answer. And if I'm fancy, I could put in generalmente, right? Not generalmente, but generalmente. I have to say the Spanish way, right? So I can't say I have to say right? Or I could say normalmente, so normalmente. Me levanto. I get out of bed, I get up a las 6, right? And then if I'm talking about going to bed, I'm just gonna put a different expression here for variation. Por la mayoría, for the most part. There should be accent on the I. Me acuesto a las 11. Or whatever time you'll go to sleep, right? My spacing here is ESU. Okay, any questions about why we did what we did? About grammar? If you have a question about the grammar, you let me know, right? Right. Okay, this expression means literally for the most part, for the majority, most of the time in this instance, right? So I'm gonna put for the most part. It's another way of conveying the idea of generally or normally with just a different expression, right? Mostly it could also be translated as most of the time in this instance, since it's about time. All right, how is the next question different? ¿A qué hora te levantas o te acuestas los fines de semana o los días festivos? So, what time do you get up or go to bed on weekends? This is how we say on weekends in Spanish, right? And this is how we say on holidays, right? On holidays. Like public holidays, probably also longer holidays. All right, so what would the examiner expect? They would expect that you might get up later or go to sleep later, right? Right, guys. So we want to put back in the phrase on weekends or on festival days, right? All right, so I'm just going to use this because it's here, right? All right, so los fines de semana o los días festivos, right? So look, I just point out, probably for some of you, you've heard it many times. I mean, you're tired hearing it, sorry. Días, dia, although it ends in an A, is a masculine noun in Spanish, right? So you'll notice festivos this is O to agree with días, which is masculine, right? All right. what are we saying? We have to say me levanto. Or if it's, I go to, well, I have to do it separately, right? A las 10 de la mañana, right? Tilde on the second end, and then I'm gonna add in here, il me acuesto I'm gonna put back 11 o'clock, a las 11, right? I also have time as another short topic for us to review soon. All right, if you have a question, let me know, right? And if you put your answer in the chat, I will check. Right, so just a reminder, you must have, for this to be a correct sentence and for it to make sense to a Spanish listener, you must have this me, and this is the wrong pen, right? You have to have in this me, right? In case of levanto, if I don't say me levanto, it becomes I lift at 10 in the morning. And then the listener is going to say, you lift what? Right? It's really, I lift myself up, which in English we would say, I get up, right? Okay, can we look at number 3? ¿Hasta qué hora duermes los sábados, los domingos, los fines de semana? So this is the same question, just worded differently, right? Up to what time do you sleep on Saturdays, on Sundays, on weekends? All right, so what is an examiner checking here? They're checking that you understand the construction up to what time, I guess. They're checking that you can change the duermes to duermo and keep the stem change in the middle, right? All of that is important for the grammar. And again, on in Spanish, like if you're talking about on Sundays, on Saturdays, on weekends, it's los. It's just the article, right? And if you want to throw in your generalmente or your normalmente here, that's fine. All right, so duermo hasta, until, I sleep until, and then you put your time. So what did we say above? We said 10 o'clock. I'll just put 10 y media for variation, and then whatever the examiner asked you, they will just ask you one, right? That is what you answer. So if they said Saturdays, you answer Saturdays. They said Sundays, you answer Sundays. If they said weekends, you answer weekends. Okay, ready for the last one on this slide? A qué hora te levantas o te acuestas entre semana or durante la semana, right? During the week. So it's the same answer as above, right? It doesn't have to be any different. I'm gonna take off this piece here, right? So normalmente me levanto a las 6. Por la mayoría me acuesto a las 11. And I probably need to put entre semana or durante la semana to make it clear I'm answering this question, right? Yeah, I'm going to clear with the writing because it's confusing now, right? All right, so they said, question said entre semana. Durante la semana. Durante la semana, right? All right. Okay, so we're taking down our answers. And of course, you could change it to suit whatever your reality is, right? And if you have a question, let me know, right? So I'm going to give you a minute and you'll tell me if you need more time than that. All right, I'm going to read out the question and say what it means in English. I'm going to read out the answers and say what they mean in English, right? But to write out all of them at this point in English might take a little more time than we have. Plus, by now, you probably know enough Spanish to figure out what they mean if you try, right? So, a qué hora, at what time te despiertas? Do you wake up? Te levantas? Do you get up? Te acuestas? Do you go to bed? Generally, generalmente, right? Generalmente, generally, me despierto. I wake up a las 5:30. I wake up at 5:30. Normalmente, normally, me levanto a las 6. I get up at 6. So you might wake up and we don't get out of bed until a certain time, right? That is why we have two different verbs. Por la mayoría, so for the most part, me acuesto a las 11. I go to bed at 11. ¿A qué hora te levantas? At what time do you get up again? ¿Te acuestas or do you go to bed? Los fines de semana, weekends, los días festivos, holidays. Los fines de semana, so weekends, los días festivos, holidays. On weekends, on holidays, me levanto a las 10. I get up at 10 de la mañana. And there's an E hiding behind this picture. Me acuesto a las 11. I go to bed at 11. ¿Hasta qué hora duermes los sábados o los domingos o los fines de semana? Until what time do you sleep on Saturdays, on Sundays, on weekends? Duermo hasta las 10:30. I sleep till 10:30. Los sábados on Saturdays, los domingos on Sundays, los fines de semana on weekends. And the last one, ¿a qué hora te levantas? At what time do you get up? So similar to the first one. O te acuestas? At what time do you go to bed? Entre semana, in the week, or durante la semana, during the week. Normalmente, normally, me levanto a las 6. I wake up at, I get up, sorry, at 6. Entre semana, in the week. Durante la semana, in the week, right? For la mayoría, so for the most part, me acuesto a las 11. So the same answers as above. I go to bed at 11. It's just the only thing different is when? Entre semana or durante la semana, right? Okay, I'm ready to change the slide. Can I do that? I'm gonna count to 10 and change the slide, right? All right, so that is one thing off of our list, oral questions. Akiora. All right, there are additional questions I will ask you to use reflexive pronouns, but I sort of want us to move along, so we could come back to it if we have time, right? All right, so let's talk about for and para next, right? All right, so as you know, we're gonna take down, we are gonna take these down, right? So if you're a person who likes to start writing, you could do that. I'm going to go through para first and for afterwards, right? As you know, in Spanish, there are two words that could mean the word for, F-O-R, right? So that's the big topic. How do we say for in Spanish, right? Well, a lot of times it depends on what the word is doing in the sentence, right? So we're going to look at para first. I'm going to look at para first, right? So we're over here. And this is an acronym that I found online to help us remember when to use para. If you feel like it's too complicated, you don't need the acronym. You could just remember the when to use para, right? Okay, so first point, we use para when we're talking about the purpose of something, right? So es un vaso para agua. In English, that is, it is a glass for water, right? So what is this glass for? This glass is used for water, right? So by purpose, we mean what it is used for. So what a thing or person, it could be a person, is used for, right? Right now I have a 3-year-old, but he'll be 3 next week. And he likes everything. He likes to ask, what is this for? What is this for? What is this for? Well, when I tell him what it's for, every time, if I was saying in Spanish, I would use para, right? So so every time you have to explain why or what something is used for, that is para, or even what someone is used for, what their purpose is in your life, para, right? All right. Effect. So when you're talking about bringing about an effect, estudio para aprender. I study to learn, right? Now, another way to think of this to or this effect is to think in order to, right? So if you could fit in the phrase in order to the sentence, for example, I study in order to learn, right? I cook in order to eat. Course, is that a reality for some people at home? You have to cook if you want to eat. Para comer, right? I cook, sorry, to eat. Okay, if I could fit in the phrase in order to, then I'm using para. Now, there are other constructions like, okay, so this one is I study to learn. So you would think to yourself, well, to learn is the infinitive. That is correct. The ER or the AR or the IR form. Remember, you could also say, like, I'm going to study. Voy a estudiar. Right? It's not I am going in order to study. I'm trying to say I'm going to study. I'm about to do it. So that is not para. Right? If you were going to the library and your annoying 3-year-old asks you, why are you going to the library for? What are you going to the library for? You would say, voy para estudiar. Right? I'm going in order to study. The effect of me going will be that I get to study. Okay, we use para when we're talking about someone who is receiving something, the recipient of something, right? Or it could be someone or something who's receiving something. Most likely it'll be someone, right? So this gift is for her. In this case, she's the recipient. So we translate the for with para. All right, this gift is for her. All right, so I'm gonna pause here, give you a minute to catch up, and then we'll go to the others. All right. So when we want to talk about when something is due, we could use para as well. La tarea es para mañana, right? The task, the homework, the assignment is for the morning. Not the morning, sorry, tomorrow. Right? What else could we say? The gift is for next week's party, perhaps. Could be another one, a future point in time. It's another sentence with for in the future. The tickets are for next week. Keep coming with next week. Right. Note that we might translate this for as due. Right? So sometimes if you want to say like you have something due for another time or another date, we use para. Right? For the future. All right, for stating your job, who you work for, trabajo para Microsoft, right? I work for Microsoft, right? Comparison, for a child, he's very tall. Para un niño, es muy alto. All right? And then when you are going towards somewhere, voy para el parque. So I am going towards the park, right? Now, this would be different from saying I'm going to the park. That would be voy al parque, because you're sure you're going to the park. The destination is the park. But if you're headed in a direction, you want to explain what the direction is, and you're not exactly sure where your endpoint will be, you say, well, go in the direction of the park. Voy para el parque, right? I'm going in the direction of the mall. Voy para el centro comercial. Will I go to the mall? Maybe. Maybe I'm going to a neighbor's house next to the mall. We don't know. We'll see, right? So the idea of towards. We're getting closer to that particular thing. Para. All right. And well, okay, so the visual says for is for everything else, right? So cause or reason. So you're saying how something happened. Or perhaps some people might think of this as why something happened, right? Because our reason is really why. And the example is the man died for lack of water. Now, what are some other ways we know how to say this idea in English? We could say the man was dehydrated. We could say the man needed water. The man had no water. Right? But we could also, we know the word poor, and we know all these other words. So he died for lack of water, por falta de agua. All right, length of time, how long something lasts for. Yo estudié por 2 horas. And even if you want to put this in present tense or future tense, it's still por, right? Sorry. So I studied for 2 hours. All right. On behalf of or in favor of. So I worked for one. I worked on behalf of one. Right? No voté por nadie. I did not vote in favor of anyone, for anyone. All right, when we're talking about how often we do something, so that is frequency, right? Voy al cine 2 veces por semana, right? So in English, we would say twice for the week. All right, so I'm going to pause here. And then we have 1, 2, 3, last 4 to do. Right. So for the recording this time, in exchange for, she paid $5. The book, she handed over $5. She got the book and exchange was made, right? So anytime we talk about spending money for something, it's por, right? Through or along or by, voy por el parque. Right? I went through the park. If we want to say thank you for something, gracias por la manzana. Thank you for the apple. Por. And then the means of doing something. So I go to the movie theater by bus. Por bus. I call by telephone. Me llamo por teléfono. All right. If anybody has a question, let me know. All right, so 1 to 100, mostly everybody knows. Now let's look down here in this colorful box, which has all these special numbers and the difficult numbers, right? So 100 is CN, or it could sometimes be CN too, right? It's CN when it's in front of a masculine noun. But other than that, it will be CN2, right? All right. 101 is CN1. So what would 102 be? CN2, CN3, CN4, etc. Right? 200, dos cientos. 300, tres cientos. Notice there's no space, right? 400, cuatro cientos. 500 is special. Like how 15 is quince, Q-U-I, right? Q-U-I. So quinientos. 600 is seis cientos. 700 is setecientos. 800 is ochocientos. 900 is novecientos. 1,000 is mil. 2,000 is dos mil. Now let us also notice something. If this were written in English, there instead of that full stop after the 1, it would probably be a comma, correct? It would be 1, 1, 2, 3. Or 2, 1, 2, 3, right? But in Spanish, there is a dot. So that dot is like our comma to separate the 3 digits at a time, right? So remember that. Great. And you'll notice too that dos mil, it's not dos miles. So even though dos mil is plural, because it's 2,000, we don't add es at the end, right? Right. So back to counting 10,000 10 mil, 100,000 cien mil. So see it's cien in front of the masculine noun. 1 million, un millón. Right? But when millón becomes plural, it loses the accent. It becomes millones, right? With no accent. Okay, so those of you who are seeing these numbers for the first time ever in your life, please write them down. And those of you who know this and are like, Miss, why are you giving us baby work again? I'll give you something to translate in the meantime, right? No, not the whole slide, guys, because I'm assuming everybody knows 1 to 100. But the stuff in the box here, if you are seeing it for the first time. If you want to take down this number and you're a fast writer, 123,456,789, that's fine, right? And for those of you who know this inside out already, I'm going to put in the middle of the screen here. I'm going to write some numbers. I want you to write them out in Spanish and you can put it in the chat. Right? If not, we'll do them together after. So let's do 1994. Let's do 2024. Let's do what years? Anybody want to give me the year they were born in? 2018. I got in somebody homework. 2009. Sure. Let's do 2010. All right. Yeah. Okay. Sure. All right. Let's get some other numbers now. Tell me about 547. Tell me about 1,321. Oh, I also noticed with my lower forms, it may not be I see with you all, but the numbers in the 20s, people were making a little mistake. Quite a few people were making mistakes with those, right? So if you need a reminder, take those down too. So 20 is 20, 21, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So it's one word for these, whereas the others it's 30 y 1, 60 y 2, 70 y 3, right? So the 20s are all each of them one word. Right. So we have our assignments. We are writing down these numbers in the box, in this colorful box, if we are seeing them for the first time, because we only did up to 100 in school. And Those of us who have done this enough times, we know it. We don't need to write it again. We are translating these numbers in Spanish words, and we are typing them in the chat. All right, 2 minutes. All right, so let's start with, oops, numeros. And there should be an accent on the U, and also this is an M, not an N. Right. Right. Okay, so the first one was 1994. Right, good. Okay, yes, some are correct. 1994. Right? All right, let's try the second one, which is 2024. We could do that together because a lot of y'all do this every day in school or every day in Spanish, right? Dos mil, so we don't add an ES even though it's plural. The zero is just zero, so we don't have to say zero. So then we have to say 24. Dos mil is 2000. So 24. 24. Great. All right. Number 3, 2018. So 2000 again. 2 is dos. 1000 is mil. 18, because we don't have to translate. We don't say 2018, right? We just say 2018. Dos mil. What is 18? DAC ocho, right? And notice that even though in English we would say and 18 sometimes or and 24, there's no and in here, right? All right, 2010. 2010. Good. All right, now let's see, what are the next one? 547. 1321. Okay, I want the people who haven't answered to take a try, please. Those of you who have answered, I could tell that you know what you're doing. Even if there was a little mistake here and there, you understand it, right? So come, a minute. People who haven't answered as yet, try. Exercise on numbers. Okay, all right. 547. 500 is special. 500 is not cinco cientos. It is quinientos, right? Quinientos and 47, right? All right. 1321 meal. So as a student pointed out earlier through a question, we don't, in English we say 1000, but in Spanish we don't say un meal. We just say meal, right? So meal, 300, one word, 21. Good? All right, let's talk about the homework. And I'll repeat it again before class is done. We'll come back and do some more numbers. If you would like, I was trying to do the cute graphic with a 5, but that's not working out. So I'll use this font instead. Let's put these up. So we did 5 already. We said what 5 was. All right, we want to translate these numbers, right? But let's talk about the homework and then we'll come back to this. Right. Homework. Okay, so first we have to talk about last week's homework. Um, last week for homework, I asked you to do a comprehension passage. You remember that? To answer these questions in English, right? Now the link was posted. I have an extra what? Sorry, let me go back to the numbers first. I have an extra E somewhere. No. Right. There's no E. There's no Y for and in these and when you put in the numbers together. Right. So back to the comprehension. I was late in posting the link online, but it's up now, right? And you were asked to send a picture to me of your answers, right? Now we remember this, right? So please do it. It's a way for me to check that vocabulary was learned or at least looked at. And I don't think it's the best, unless y'all want to do it in class. Is it that you want to do it in class? We won't do this one in class. This is still homework, but we could do another one in class. But I feel like comprehension is best done at home because there are so many other more difficult things we need class time for. Right? So once we've explained the vocabulary and it stands in English, try it at home, right? Now we have one other thing. Just a second. From the first week, this form here, Kieneris, right? Which a handful of students have done out of, well, maybe more than a handful, maybe like 10, right? Yes, I'll put the homework is posted in numbers. I'm going to give you all the homework right now, the links to everything, and as well as so we'll post links online tonight, right? So there are 3 things that some of us have outstanding. Some of us have 2, everybody has at least 1, right? So this is the first exercise that was sent to the class, the first week homework exercise, right? So here it is again. It's a basic review. It's important. I need to know who is having trouble with what. Now, the last question, some of my Smarty Pants children just put this into Google Translate. Please don't. Or some other app. I don't know. Whatever the app was. Please try. We are checking to see that we understand agreements and we understand well, agreement is really agreement, right? So please try it. How can I tell? Because of the vocabulary that came back, right? All right. And some people I suspect, but I don't know for sure, so I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. But the people who haven't done it yet and you're about to do it, please do not use Google Translate. Right. Let's talk about the comprehension link, right? That is posted online now. Comprehension por la mañana. This one, is it this one? Yes, this is it, right? So I'm sending you all the link to it. It is posted online. You can send the picture from your parents' phone. You can send it from your phone. I don't care whose phone it comes from. Just send it and say who you are, right? Make sure I can read it, please. And if you have disappearing messages on your phone, please turn it off because it could take me more than a week to read something. So don't let it disappear, right? Or set it to like the next option, which is not a week. I think next option is 90 days. So sorry. And then once it's corrected, you can put it back, right? Please. What else? So there's this numbers. Okay, so we wanted the numbers practice. And that is here. All right, so 25th and 26th September, right? And again, I'm asking you, please do not simply use Google, don't use a translator. You try it. Right? Okay, let's talk about due dates. The first two things I want to get squared away are the key and areas, who are you, and this comprehension, right? But if you send in, if like to you, that's not important, but the numbers are really important because you feel stressed out because you need to practice and you want to do that first, fine. Right? Once you submit something, I will give you credit. But by this weekend, I'm gonna have to look at the list of names in the class and the list of people who submitted homework and send a message on the parents chat, right? So before I do that, I want to give you all a heads up that that's coming. So please try by Sunday to send something, right? The key and areas and the comprehension. Get that done and out of the way. And the numbers thing, I'm gonna only be checking the who has submitted what for the numbers quiz next week, right? But the comprehension and the key and areas I'm keeping track of now. Anybody has a question? Anybody is concerned? Anything they want to ask or say? Everybody understands? So I've sent 3 links in the chat. 2 of them are already up on the website. The third one will go up tonight. The third one is the one with the numbers, right? And if we're answering the comprehension questions in English, right? If when you're doing it, you have a problem, if you can't find the link, but you're ready to do it, message me on WhatsApp and I'll send you whatever you need, right? As soon as I can. Without attitude. Okay? Right. So let's go back to the numbers then, and we'll close out class with just another number exercise. And I've lost the numbers. Where are the numbers? Right. Okay. So let's discuss this. The first one you all told me from back when we started on another side, cinco. The next one, what is 55? Yes, 55. All right, what is the third one? How do we say 555? Quinientos, very good. All right, what about the next one? So 555, right? So now we're on the fourth one, 5,555. So 5,000, that's the new element, right? So that is 5,000. Good. And then 555. Right. All right. 55,555. How do we say 55,000? 55,000 now. How do we say 55? You know that, we said it earlier. And then how do you say 1,000? All right, so break it down. 55. Remember when you were in maths class in little people in primary school, you had to put your number like ones and tens and hundreds, and so thousands and tens of thousands. So it's just that you're doing. So this is tens of thousands. So 55, 50 y 5,000, right? And then the rest, 55,000, 555. This could be a song if we tried. Right. All right. What about the next one now? So this is really what we're dealing with. This 555 here, 555,000. Right. So we have to put back the 500. So 500 55,000, right? 555. Right? All right, last one. 5,555,555. Right. Now, meal doesn't change in the plural form, but million does. Million changes, just like hundreds change. Yeah, that's it. Right? So 1 million is millón, right? With an accent. But when we get to the plural, we add es, it ends in a consonant. We add es, and this accent goes away. Right? So for shorthand now, just remember the accent is absent in the plural form. Did I just say present? My mistake? I don't know. But the plural form, millones, no accent, right? So 5,000,000, right. 555,000, right? So 5,555,555. Okay, no comma, no comma. Right? 555, 555. Is anybody feeling lost? If you're feeling lost, I would like to know. Great. All right. So you have numbers for homework practice. Before you do that, I would like you, but you could choose differently, right? To do the key and erase if you didn't do it, and the comprehension. Some people have done the key and erase. I've sent back all that I got answers to, right? If you have a question about your score or about anything, you can message and ask, the number that you can message. You could always message Stan and ask for my number, right? He will give it to you. If for some reason you lose it, don't write it down, whatever. Also, I'm the other admin in the group, right? The group that your parents are in, and I think y'all are in it too this year. So 796-7733, it's Trinidad area code 1868. Right? All right, so we're wrapping up here. Have a good night, get some rest. I hope you all do. And if you have any problems, Spanish related, just message. Okay? Take care, everybody. Oops. Oh no. Oh no. Sorry, not what I meant to do. Right. Phew. Magic. All right. Stop the recording before I do more magic tricks.